He had a comfortable bed, I'm sure. Everything was great. Why in the world would he care about what's going on with the sinful Jews in Jerusalem? But he did. I mean, a highly respectable job as cupbearer, a rather secure environment, but he was not preoccupied with self. What I find there is that he is doing everything to God's glory. He does his job, his assignment, his given task by God with excellence. But he knows that there are things greater than just what his current position is. God and his people are still primary. And as they come, he looks, not preoccupied with himself, he's saying, I've asked them about the Jews. What's going on with our people, our brothers and sisters? You know, women and men throughout history who have developed a love for others, who've had an others-focused life, have been used to transform societies. Some of you watched the movie Amazing Grace that came out, I think it was last year. Wilda let me borrow it not too long ago. The story of William Wilberforce, a lawyer, politician in England who helped to abolish or to end slave trading in England. Anybody see that? Anybody heard this story? Why did he care? Because God put it within his heart to love others, to look out with compassion and know this isn't right. And he dedicated his entire life to seeing the end of slave trading in England. I think of men like George Mueller, who was quite a prayer warrior. He prayed for everything. He wouldn't tell people of his needs as he had homes for orphans. But he prayed, God, would you provide the milk today? We have none. And lo and behold, a half an hour later, a milk truck would break down in front of the orphanage. And he'd go out and collect the milk because the milk couldn't take it anywhere else. God would provide for this man. But he gave his entire life for orphans. Charles Spurgeon did the same thing in his ministry. He cared for orphans. But people who look out with compassion, there are needs. What can I do? How many of you throughout your day see people in need? I'm saying real need. Whether it's an emotional need or a physical need, we see it all the time. But sometimes we become so callous because there are so many needs. And we can question, but there's so many needs. If you're a news junkie like I am, I mean, I read Drudge Report, I read World Magazine, I watch CNN once in a while, if I can stomach it. But I love news. But we become callous to the news because how many needs are there? It's overwhelming. So we can almost get into a position, well, just thank God that I don't have those needs. Nehemiah could have done that, but he didn't. He sets a precedent here, I think, for us as believers. He looks out with compassion. He's looking. He's eager to know, not for his own blog to write on, not just so he can know something about it and have something to talk about at the water cooler where the cupbearers go for the water. He wanted to know because did God have something for him to do to meet that need? And I wonder how many times we miss a great opportunity when we hear of needs, but we don't pause to say, God, did you teach me about this need for my knowledge or for my action? Nehemiah was a man who was a man of action. Compassion for others and a convicted conscience always leads to vigorous action. It's not enough to identify needs. One must meet that need head on. I was just pausing to think about all the things that we see around us. And what is it that our church, what is it that you as an individual could be involved in meeting needs? There are thousands of things that I could not tell you. I don't live in your house. I don't live with your neighbors. I don't go to your workplaces. But you see needs. You take the opportunity to meet those needs. But corporately, what is it that we as a church can be a part of? Because I'm burdened over our church to work together, not for just more programs and more activity, but there's a real, just brick and mortar type of stuff we can get our hands dirty with and start building the glory of God in our community. I mean, we've given food and items to the Norcross Co-op. Could we be more involved there? Volunteering at times. I took the kids over last week, or a couple of weeks ago. Gosh, it's already been a couple of weeks since Thanksgiving, huh? I took all the elders' children over, and we delivered our food, and we took like a little tour. And we saw the clothing items, and we saw all the peanut butter that they have there. And what was the most things that they had there? Yeah, mac and cheese. Tons of macaroni and cheese, just walls of it. I took some pictures. Go to the blog. You can see some of the pictures. It was cool. And I'm thinking, is there more that we can do here? They're desperate for items. They're also desperate for volunteers. The volunteers didn't have time to show us around because they were overwhelmed by the amount of work needed to be done. But they graciously allowed us to walk through just to get an idea. But could we be more involved there? Of course, we take up our Christmas missions offering. And we can give your $5, $10, $15, $20, $100, $1,000, whatever the Lord puts on your heart. But is there more that we can do? Maybe we ought to be more involved in missions. You know, when Randy Jackson was here just a few weeks ago, sharing about Azerbaijan, I think I can say that correctly now. Azerbaijan, just north of Georgia, in the northwest Georgia, I thought, Lord, is there something that we could do more as a church than just read Randy's email updates? Should we send a team of 4 or 5 over to Azerbaijan sometime in 2009, just to see what we as a church can do to partner with Randy and the missionaries in East Asia, Central Asia? Is there more? I don't want to get comfortable sitting on a pew or a chair. I want to be involved. I wonder if there was more we can do with talking with Lucy. And he has a heart to help people in our community with their finances. The financial crisis is huge right now. You know, a lot of people carry debt and have financial problems, but then all of a sudden you get the pink slip and you don't have any income coming in. And so in 2009, Lucy wants to start a Dave Ramsey class here. And you're invited. But his heart is really to have people from our community who just need help. Maybe some of your neighbors need financial counseling. I think Dave Ramsey's great. Larry Burkett's great. There's a lot of good courses. But people need help on what do I do? People don't know how to budget. And so we want to help people that way. Marriage counseling, that needs to happen a lot. There's a ministry I'd like us to look at in 2009 called Whirlwind Ministries. A man who lives, he's a Southern Baptist and North American missionary, housed at the First Baptist Church of Dorville. But he does apartment ministries. He has over 55 apartments in the Atlanta area that he works with to work with children. He can work to do job education. The apartments are open. They allow their community center to be open to missionaries or churches that would like to come in, just host a Bible study, do a church service, do marriage counseling, do a backyard Bible club. It's basically whatever your compassion is, whatever you know how to do. You come into that community in one of the apartment complexes, maybe lower rent, and children just running wild. You come in and offer it, and people will flock to that. And you use the mechanism of whatever. Maybe it's financial counseling, marriage counseling, maybe it's teaching someone how to sew, or whatever. You just set that up. People will come, and then you use that as a tool to share the gospel. Meeting some needs. The doors have already been opened. I just wonder if you're willing to walk through some of them. And there are needs in this room as well. Financial needs, emotional and relational needs. I pray we'd have a heart like Nehemiah to not just wait to hear about something, but ask, how are you doing? What's going on with your life? Is there anything I can do to help you? That's what Nehemiah did. Nehemiah's priority were people, far more than his position or any possessions. The broken walls of Jerusalem were more than just a physical problem. Don't you believe it added insecurity to the people that lived in that area? In Jerusalem, trying to rebuild their lives, but they couldn't. They were broken lives and did not know what to do. Nehemiah had compassion, a love for those people.